Welcome or welcome back to my channel, RNR the Serial Reader. I'm your girl Ronnie, and on this channel we talk about all the things books for the love of books. I'm so excited for today's video because we're doing a fun book tag called Love 'em or Leave 'em. Now that Valentine's Day is over, it's the perfect time to decide, do we love these books and characters, or are we leaving them in the past? Grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's get into it. This video is going to be different, and I just want to give a special shout out. This video was all inspired by Sip Then Read, their Valentine's Day book tag. And so they inspired me, as always, Nikki and Sarita, to go ahead and do my own book tag. Rather than rating these books from a 1 to 5, we're going to rate them a special way. So I have prompts, and then the prompts are going to be followed up with questions. And the questions are going to allow me to rate them by either loving them or leaving them. The first prompt is a romance book that you have been avoiding. Maybe it's overhyped, or maybe you're unsure the book is your vibe. The first book that I picked for the prompt is Conflicted Heart by Kay Shanae. The reason why I chose this book was because so many people were talking about this book, saying that it was sad, it was heartbreaking, and it involved death. They also said that the book was good. And not to mention, it was a Kay Shanae book, and I was like, you know what? Just read it. So Conflicted Heart is about two sets of twins who are married to one another. They're happy, they're in love, but then something happens to each twin from the marriage. They wind up relying on each other to get through the grief, to be able to mourn and support each other. I feel like this book was not overhyped. It was just exactly how everyone described it. It was a different story. It had grief involved in it, but there are some happy moments. I love this book so much. I think based on that, because I think it's not overhyped, we're gonna love them. But I think more people should be talking about it, like right now in 2025, and to continue to talk about it. Second prompt is a book with a second chance romance. Do they deserve another shot, or should they have stayed broken up? So I'm breaking my own rules because I said a book. It's actually a series. However, rules are meant to be broken. So I actually chose Addicted Wasteland, The Saga by Chantel Davis. But like I said, I can't help but mention, if I mention this, I have to mention the first book in the series, which is also Addicted Wasteland. So one is Addicted Wasteland. This is the beginning. This is where they start. And then book 2 is where they ended. In this series, we have Love and we have Kevlar. Kevlar, yes, that's how you say his name, I hope. It is an interracial romance. As you can see by the photo here, Love is a BBBW. She's gorgeous. And then Kevlar, he is Egyptian. And Love and Kevlar, they meet in a very unusual circumstance. It's basically life or death situation of how they met. And Love and Kevlar were very interesting characters because they started to bond, but it was a trauma bond. They both have been through so much trauma. We learn about Love and the trauma that she went through as a child. And then with Kevlar, just growing up and the type of family that he has, the expectations of him, because he is from a Muslim family, and there were expectations of him and how he was treated. I think because of what these two went through is why they were able to click so quickly with one another. We get in book one of them building a friendship. They even refer to each other instantly as best friends. As I mentioned, Kevlar had some obligations and he had to marry a certain person. Even though Love and Kevlar started off as friends, they did become lovers. I mean, it was instantly like she met him. Kevlar brought her back to his place to try to, help her and things of that nature. Within a week, Kevlar was gone. He had to go back to his family. He had to marry who his parents had chose. But he kept promising her, it's only going to be for a certain amount of time. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Well, lo and behold, Kevlar, Kevlar, this man, he was psycho. He was not a traditional I love you type man. He was overly possessive, but it was just like he would just snap and be off his rocker for any and everything. He wanted her as a side piece. Now he got married, he had children. Like the time frame that he told her did not happen. It was years. Regardless that it was an arranged marriage, it wasn't a marriage of love. He was married and he had children with this lady. Kevlar flipped the script and was like, I want you to come live on my property with me and my wife. What? What are you saying? Are you sick? What do you mean you want me to come? Like that's not what it was supposed to be. Love was like, I've had enough. This has gone on long enough. I can't deal with this anymore. And then we get book two. Book two, there was a character that showed up in book one. He shows up in book two, and his name was Life. Now, Life, on the other hand, was completely opposite from Kevlar. He was an alpha male, but he was an alpha male with good integrity. However, even though we had Life and he was all that, there were some other things, other extenuating circumstances that brought Kevlar back into the picture with Love. As you can imagine, because I picked this as a second chance romance, you can imagine that Love does get back with Kevlar. So my question was, do these two deserve a second chance, or should they have stayed apart? And I'm saying leave them. Love, they should have stayed apart. Love, you should not have ever went back to Kevlar. He was not the better man. Life was the better man, and you should have did everything you possibly could to make sure that Life did not leave. But yet you let this loony bin get back into your life. The third prompt is a messy book with a love triangle. Who gets the happy ending, and was all the drama even worth it? The name of the book is Frisco, Welcome to the Woods by Bianca Xavier. It is a 2-book series, but I only read book one so far. So in this book, we have Yakima and we also have Frisco Matisse. And these are two people who should not be together. Yakima's father is a police officer. He's some type of officer, detective, or whatever the case may be. And he raised Yakima to make sure that she stayed away from guys who were in the streets. I mean, he trained her so well. Like he trains her on if they had a certain tattoo on them, if it said something, this is who they are, stay away from them. There comes a time where she meets someone that her father specifically told her that she should not be with, and that was Frisco Matisse. Frisco is that dude. He's in the streets, he's making his money, and he runs into Yakima at a pool party. So he finds out who she is. He knows all about her father. He's familiar with her father. That sets the wheels of him plotting. On top of that, can you imagine a man like Frisco? He's not a single man. He has a lady. It was his long-term partner that he was with. And he does one of the most messiest things in the world, but I blame Alice for allowing this to happen. He brings her to the home because he lives with Alice. So he brings Yakima to the home that him and Alice share with one another. And he says to Alice, listen, I'm bringing this girl here, but it's not what you think. I'm using her. I'm using her for these reasons. I need you to go along like you're my maid or something. And she is like, what? And goes along with it. Question is, was this drama worth it? Hell yes. It was worth it. This was the most entertaining book that I read. For me, I'm rating this book as we're still going to love it. Regardless of how I felt about how Frisco treated his long-term partner, the drama was there and I loved it. The fourth prompt is a book where a couple starts off as enemies. Enemies to lovers, swoon-worthy or overdone? So the book that I chose for this, listen, I don't care what you guys say. Any chance I get to insert this book, to talk about this book, to talk about these characters, I'm going to do it. So for this prompt, I chose Emancipating James. And the characters who are enemies to lovers in this book are Jeremiah and Callie. Jeremiah, in this story, this is a historical romance. And in this story, Jeremiah, he is the son of the plantation owner. Jeremiah was known as the Black Cracker. He did the same work like the white people. He would beat Black people. He was doing all the stuff that the white people would do. He would go and buy slaves. He would beat them. He would train them. He would put fear in them. His father was dead. Black had killed him. And Jeremiah was out doing his regular old job, going and purchasing slaves and bringing them back to the plantation so that they can work on the plantation. And Callie was one of those slaves that he bought, okay? And so you could imagine the relationship between Jeremiah and Callie it was very contentious. It was very, she was fearful of him. He was, very, I won't say aggressive, but he was hard towards her, and he would threaten her, and maybe he might have not put his hands on her, but put his hands on her. You understand what I'm trying to say? She had so much fear that there was nowhere else she could place that fear anymore, but other than step forward and be courageous toward what was scaring her. And so she would then stand up to him and give him back talk and all this type of stuff, which for a man like Jeremiah, he was not used to. He was used to everyone bending for him and being fearful of him, which winds up being a good thing because that winds up translating into passion, right? He was started to see that he was attracted to her and he wanted her. He wanted to bend her, but bend her in the right way. And so this is why I love Jeremiah and Callie so much in this story. I think because they started out as enemies to lovers. They started out as enemies. Why? For me, I believe that their love was so passionate and it was so full of heat because they started out in such a bad place. Like, this is a real enemies to lovers. Like, we've all read a bunch of enemies to lovers story. Where, oh, I don't like you, that sort of thing. Well, this is slavery times where this man purchased her and he was forcing her to be a slave and do things that she didn't want to do and potentially have her the way that he wanted to have her. Now, I think they did mention that Jeremiah was not the type of man who would take a woman sexually. So that was a good thing. And there's a lot more to Jeremiah in this story, which is again why I love him so much. But I would say, based on the question that's asked for this prompt, was it swoon worthy or was it overdone? What you think I'm going to say? Love him. It was definitely swoon worthy. This was one of the historical romance that I truly loved in 2024. And again, anytime I get to talk about it, I don't care if I'm going to slip them in somehow, some way. The next prompt is a romance that has been sitting on your TBR for over a year. Was it worth the wait, or should I have finally let it go? So the book that I chose for that prompt was Luca, the Eisenberg from the Eisenberg series by Gray Huffington. Yes, this book has been sitting on my TBR for well over a year, and I've heard everyone talk about this book, talk about Luca and the BDE energy that he gave, and I still had not touched the book. Luca is I think he's the oldest of his siblings, and he did 8 years in prison. His sister Lyrica has a friend by the name of Ever. So anyway, like I said, it was along that same timeline that Luca was being released. And so Lyrica and Ever were the two that went to go pick up Luca. And when Luca ever so saw Ever, that was it. It was insta love for him. He was ready. He was ready. And the thing was, with Luca, not only did he have BDE, but he was a man ready for a family. He was ready to do that family life. Wasn't trying to like be out in the streets or anything like that. He was really trying to settle down. So the fact that he had his eye on Eva immediately, and he was like, I'm ready for her. I want to give her the wealth. Oh, she has children. I want to take care of them. I want them to be a part of our family too. And that's why everyone was so in love with Luca. The question that the prompt gave me was it worth the wait, or should I finally let it go? And of course, based on how I just described it, love them. We're going to love them. This was worth the wait. I'm so glad that I did wait, because now I'm invested. We just did a prompt that was about a messy triangle relationship. Well, this prompt is about featuring a toxic relationship. Does the drama make it entertaining, or is it too much? I could not just choose one book. There were two books that popped into my mind. And the first book is One Ain't Enough by Mo Flames. Listen, on my TikTok last year, I talked about Miss Desiree. The reason why I chose this book was because I think every person in this book had a toxic relationship. From Desiree and her husband, to her husband and whoever else he was messing with, to Desiree and her lover Derek. She was married to an NFL player. I can't remember his name at the moment. I want to look on the back of the book, but I can't see it. I don't have my glasses on. I should go get my glasses, right? All right. Hold up. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I can see now. So as I was saying, Desiree was married to an NFL star by the name of Troy Harris. Their relationship was toxic. Troy was abusive to Desiree. Is this the right story? Yes, it is the right story, right? Their final confrontation, where he was being abusive, Troy was being abusive, the police got involved and they arrested him. And he never went back to her. And what he did was he sent his best friend, Derek, to go get all his things, not saying anything to Desiree of like, hey, what are we going to do with this whole situation? Desiree, before she ran into Derek, Desiree married another man. But that man was also cheating on Desiree. Talk about toxic. This is why I wanted to talk about this book for this prompt. This book was so toxic. One, you had abuse involved in it. Two, you had people cheating. There's also a murder in this book. Desiree is not innocent as well because, as I said, although she's married to the man who she does not know was cheating on her with another man, she runs into Derek and starts having an affair with him as well. And then, after all of this mess and toxicity has been going around, Troy comes back into the picture. The man that left you, didn't give you no word, no explanation, and was abusive to you and sent his best friend to collect his things, you let him back? You don't spin the block on somebody like that. So based on that, does the drama make it entertaining? Am I going to love them or leave them? I'm loving them. Yes, I'm loving them. The drama was well worth it. It was entertaining. So the next book that I had to throw in here was most recent read, and that was Birds in the Sky by Ashley Antoinette. I introduced this book in January book releases. Demi and Charlie. Demi is the guy and Charlie is the girl. Demi, let me tell you about toxic. This couple was very toxic. Why? Because Demi was a married man with a child. Okay? That's why they were toxic. Charlie did not know that he was married, so Demi was the liar. Okay, Demi had no business getting with Charlie. And here's the thing: usually when they write a cheating romance, you eventually find out that the even though they're cheating, you find out that their partner did something foul or they were grimy or something like that. This was not the case in Birds in the Sky. The toxic part was, yes, he was cheating on his wife, his good wife, and his wife was not some slacky. She was a down ass woman. She had a career. She was holding her own. She was raising her son. She was being there for her son. She was not like what you're used to when you find out that the character is cheating. She was a good woman. So then you take Charlie and you put Charlie into a home that you bought for her, right? So then when Charlie finds out about your wife and spaz out and she decides to go with somebody else, you get mad and you pull her out of the house while she naked and tell people leave her there. Either she get her stuff or she gotta go. That's why this was toxic. So what do I say for this book? Was the drama entertaining or was it too much? I wrote to love them. I guess the drama was worth it. I should have said leave them. I mean, the drama was entertaining. I did love it. I wish I could say leave them. But yeah, it was good. It was entertaining. Of course, it's Ashley Antoinette. What did you guys expect? So the next prompt is a romance that had a great premise but mixed reviews. Does it live up to the hype or is it a flop? So the book that I chose, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if this book was hyped up because it was not a book that I chose to read based on anyone's recommendation. I just happened to find it. And because of what the prompt said, and I looked at the reviews for this book, I did see that it did have mixed reviews. And so that's why I chose it. This one is going to be hard for me. But anyway, the book that I chose was The Devil Wears Baccarat by Jatoria C. I kind of talked about this book with you guys. When did I talk to you guys? I think this was in a haul, right? Yes, I talked about this book in a haul that I did. And so you guys already know, if you watched that video, how I felt about the MMC in this story. This is an interracial romance. You have Alexander and you have Kenya. And Alexander he's Romanian and he's a part of the mafia, and Kenya is a black girl, okay? But the thing about this story is that it's a dark romance, which I love. It's mafia, which I love, but it's very graphic. I said it in the last video. I mean, it's so graphic. As you read it, you can really see everything that Chatoria describes. And what Alexander does in this book is none other than what I've read before. I've never read anything so explicit, so graphic. That's all I can say. I mean, he was so possessive. He was not on planet Earth, basically. His responses to situations and his response to Kenya, who he kidnapped, along with her brother, because they needed an IT guy, because the IT guy they killed him or something like that, was not realistic. He wasn't on planet Earth. And he became so possessive of Kenya that she couldn't even talk to her work friend or work buddy. He just did the most craziest things. But I guess Kenya liked it because that was her man. At some point, she liked it. I solely found this whole series, actually, this is a 3-book series, and it is about all of the brothers, Alexander, Constantine, and Roman. And so what am I gonna choose? Am I gonna say, does it live up to the hype or is it a flop? I mean, I think it lives up to the hype based on who's reading it. If you like this type of read, then I think, yes, it lives up to the hype. I think if it's too much for you, then no, you won't. Am I going to love them or leave them? I think I'm going to love them. You know why I'm going to love them? Because I do want to read the rest of the books in this series. I said that before too. I'm curious. I want to see what the other brothers their stories is going to be about, what they're going to bring forth. Are they going to be as drastic as Alexander? We're going to love them. With a hint of with a hint of caution. With a hint of caution. We're going to love them with a hint of caution. Prompt 8 is a book with a love interest you're not sure you're going to like. Will they win you over, or are they a walking red flag? So the book that I chose for this prompt, I don't have the physical copy of this book because it's not available. It's only available on Kindle Unlimited. The book is Holiday Mayhem by Neek Mills. This is a 2-book series. So book 1 is the prequel, and it's a novella, and it is about Daylin and Keyshawn. Daylin is in a relationship that she thinks is perfect, and then she learns that it's not. Even though Keyshawn is not who this book is about, his demons creep over into book 2. And so naturally, because Daylin was his long-term partner, Daylin has to pay the consequences for Keyshawn's demons. And that is in the form of Mayhem. Mayhem come around and he's like, yo, something belonged to me. I want it where it's at. Your man not here. I'm going to have to get it off of you. And so he takes her. He was dipping his toes into both worlds, the legal world and the illegal world. And in his legal world, he was shysty. Like, he was sleeping with his employees. He was sleeping with the people he was doing business with. He was a killer. Like, he did not hesitate to kill someone. He was a walking red flag because he was dipping his toes into both worlds and he wasn't making a decision on which world he needed to be in, and because he was sleeping with all those those people, and the fact that he was just straight up kill somebody and hurt somebody, I really wasn't sure if I was gonna be feeling him. The other thing was I was still banking on Dalen and Keyshawn, you know, because I knew this was a continuation of her story. So I really was not trying, like, feeling like I was gonna get into mayhem like that. However, you know how these authors do. They make us feel one way in the beginning, and they will turn it all around and make us feel another way. He turned out to be the best thing for Dalen, and he was that man, and he was there to protect her. He did everything in his power to give her, even though he took her, even though he was gonna murk her. That quickly changed because she was a beautiful woman. She was a woman that held her own. She was an entrepreneur, and she took no crap. I was so proud of her in book 2. Book 1, I was like, oh my God, this girl, she don't take her head out the clouds, okay? Because ain't nothing perfect, even a relationship. So in book 2, I saw the growth in her character, and I loved it. Her family was a good foundation for her. She had a mother, a father, and a sister, and they were down for her every step of the way, and I love that. The question to this prompt is, will they win you over, or will they be a walking red flag? So he was a walking red flag to me, but he won me over. And so because of that, I say love him. We gotta love a ninja like Mayhem. The next prompt is a romance from a genre that you usually don't read. Maybe it will surprise you, or maybe it's not just for you. All right, so the book that I chose for that prompt is Devil's Stare by Shira Lynn. This book is a domestic thriller, fantasy, paranormal read. In this story, you have Cecil and Wilson. You get a lot of different tropes in here from these two. They were young lovers, they were children, they were friends, young friends that eventually turned into young love, and they really fell hard for one another. This is an interracial romance as well. William decides to go off in the war, and he leaves Cecil behind. And things don't turn out so good for these two once William goes to war, because of course, you know, we have to now deal with the after effects of being in the war. At first he was writing to her, eventually he stopped writing to her. And we learn in the story as we go, he stopped writing to her because he was injured. And when he returned back, he did not return back home, because now he was at the point where he was dealing with PTSD from the war, and then also addiction. And he did not want to go back home to Cecil and have her see him that way. So he stayed away. That was a bad thing, because he stayed away all those years. That made Cecil have no other choice but to then move on with someone else. And she married also another childhood friend, but it was more so a childhood friend to William. And when they were kids, the husband, I forget what his name is, the husband that she married, he was not nice to her at all. He was mean to her. He would say some really bad things to her. But somehow she married him. And this was not a good thing on all type of levels, because he was also abusive to her, and he was a drunk. One day there was something that happened. He came home, he was drinking, and he was cheating on her too. That was the other thing. He was a drunk, abusive, and cheating on her. You know, all those three usually go with each other. One day he comes home, and he's attempting to beat her up, but an accident happens and he dies. William winds up coming back because he learns that Cecil's husband, his old childhood friend, has died. So I think he's ready to come back for his girl. But however, when he comes back, things start to get crazy. Yes, he had to fight his way to get back to Cecil, because of course she's like, why you here? You left all these years. You left me, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I had to deal with? And they got over that, and they started to connect again. However, they couldn't be together in peace because there was dark magic that was placed on her. She couldn't even love William the way she wanted to love her because every time she looked at herself, she saw a monster. She had to like wear a mask. It was so deep. They were apart for decades, and once they got together, they found out, you know, dark magic threatened their lives and their love. It was really crazy. It was a good read. And so, based on the question, maybe it will be a surprise, or maybe it's not for you. It definitely was for me. So I would have to say that I want to love them. We are not leaving this book. I'm going to check out Shira to see if she has anything else like this. Anyway, love them. This is the last prompt, guys. This prompt is a book where the couple breaks up before the end. Is the heartbreak worth it? So the only book that came to my mind real quick for this prompt was A Moth to a Flame by Ashley Antoinette. As we all know, this is what spurred the Ethic series, because you get Ethic and you get Raven in this story. And so much goes down between Ethic and Raven, and Raven in her life overall, that Ethic had to, like, they had to break up. He couldn't be with her because Raven was one of those girls who was selfish. She was, if you read Butterflies, if you read the Ethic series, Raven was very similar to her sister Morgan. Okay, it was all about her. She was selfish. The only thing is that the only difference between, I think, between Morgan and Raven is Raven was about status and what you had and the money and what you can do for her, that sort of thing. Morgan wasn't really like that, but she was selfish, and yeah, she was just selfish. So you do get, and this is how the story kicks off for the Ethic series. Ethic and Raven break up. They're not together. She's with another guy, whether it's by choice or by force. Eventually, she tries to get word back to Ethic and say, look, this is what it is. This is not what you think it is. And unfortunately, we don't see Ethic and Raven together anymore after that. This is the finality of their relationship. And so, is the heartbreak worth it? Hell no. I said leave them. So no, it was not. The heartbreak was not worth it. None of the stuff that she went through is worth it because she's no longer here. We no longer get a character of Raven. We get a continuation of her family members, her children, the man she loved. That's it. So that's my take. I have fun putting the prompts together and then finding the books to go with the prompt. Tell me what you guys think. Did you enjoy this video with this book tag? Would you do this book tag? Be the books that you would choose for this book tag, the love them or leave them, right? And if you want to do this for your own video, go ahead, feel free. The only thing I say is give me credit. That's it. Use it. If you want to adapt it, change the rules a little bit, have fun with that. That's the end of this video. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe, like this video. I need you guys to like the video. If you like what I'm putting out, click that like button, because if not, the algorithm is not going to know that you want to hear from me. And also leave a comment. I love to know what your recommendations are, what you're reading. And again, if you want to talk about books that you would choose for this book tag, put it all down below. I'm so happy you guys joined me. Click on the next video and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.